Dear students, today our topic of discussion is disasters and its components for class 10 environmental education. Due to continuous population growth, people migrate from one place to another, particularly from rural to urban areas, hoping for better life. People migrate in search of employment and better living conditions. Sometimes they migrate due to natural and man-made disasters. A good number of people are killed and affected by disasters like earthquakes, floods, cyclones, landslides, fires, etc. every year. Therefore, each section of the society needs to be made aware about his role and given the skill in order to be able to perform in case of an eventuality. So, disaster is a part of our life. The disasters may be of natural or man-made. So both kind of disasters are detrimental to the life of the people. Disasters like earthquake, tsunami, flood, cyclone, etc. may kill thousands and affect many people and their property. So it is necessary that each and every body in the society must be aware about his or her role, how to handle, how to tackle such situation when it arises. Let us see the next slide. Definition of disaster. The term disaster is derived from the French word désastre, which means a bad or an evil star. So, a disaster may be defined as a terrible event that occurs unexpectedly and causes great loss of life. Natural disasters. Disasters which are caused by violent forces of nature suddenly and are beyond the control of humans are called natural disasters. Main examples of natural disasters are earthquakes, floods, landslides, volcanic eruptions, cyclones, tsunamis, droughts, etc. Man-made disasters. Disasters caused by undesirable and anti-environment activities of man are called man-made disasters. Some examples of man-made disasters are leakage from chemical industries, fires, nuclear explosion, terrorism, epidemics. Effects of disaster. Disaster may have post effect in the surrounding, in the life of the people. Some of the effects of disaster are: disaster cause loss of life and property and disrupt the normal functioning of the society. They cause serious damage to the environmental ecosystem and biodiversity. They may cause the outbreak of epidemics and diseases. Let us see the next slide. What is disaster management? The effective organization, direction and utilization of available counter-disaster resources is called disaster management. I repeat again, the effective organization, direction and utilization of available counter-disaster resources is called disaster management. Components of disaster management. There are 4 components or 4 steps of disaster management. They are preparedness, response, recovery, and prevention, or planning or mitigation. The last step, prevention, is of very much importance. Preparedness. Let us see one by one. Uh, what is preparedness? This is the first step towards disaster management. The individual or a group of individuals or the NGO or the community of the affected area as a whole should be given mock drill, training and practice to cope with the situation. Resources and materials required to tackle the situation should be procured and their inventory should be maintained. A proper warning system should be put in place. Vulnerable groups that need first attention should be identified. Then comes next step, response. As soon as the disaster takes place, a group of people or the NGO should spring into action. In fact, response includes measures taken before and taken during and taken after the disaster to minimize the damages. Search and rescue teams have comparatively greater role to play. Medical camps are to be set to treat the injured and affected people. Kitchen services are to be started to feed the rescued people. Updated information about any probable disaster is to be provided. Third step is recovery. In this stage, reconstruction of houses and restoration of economic stability are taken care of. People are educated about health and safety measures so that they can be less dependent. People who lost their own people are provided emotional support. Proper coordination is maintained with essential services like electricity, communication, roads, etc. Temporary housing and livelihood are to be provided. The last step is prevention. It consists of measures which are to be taken to prevent the recurrence or at least to minimize the loss if at all the disaster recurs. Land use has to be planned. Habitation in risk-prone areas must be stopped. Construction of building must follow the hazard resistance guidelines. Community awareness programs must be organized time to time. So these are the steps of basic steps of disaster management. I hope that you've understood to a great extent. Thank you for listening.